Progressives want to change America. I would like to take America back to where we were when we were founded. I believe that things were better then than they are now. I'd like to read from a 1970 school book. It's called The Revolution and the Constitution. I'm saddened to say I found this in a bin at the dump. Somebody threw it away. And I feel like that's what we're doing with our representative Republican form of government by trying to take representation away from people. Listen to what Sam Adams' situation was. It was 1763. Sam Adams, now 41 years old, felt that he was a total failure. He had never had a chance to use his excellent Harvard College education. His wife had died. The business in Boston that his father had left him was gone. The house that he had loved since he was a boy was falling apart. It was the lowest point of his life. Now, he was a tax collector, and he hated his job. He hated to ask people for money. But he had to do it because King George had asked the American colonies to pay new taxes. And Sam Adams needed the job as much as Great Britain needed the money. Sam was a short, stout man who smoked a clay pipe. He spoke well, but he was handicapped by an illness called palsy, so that his voice trembled. His greatest weapon was his pen, as many people of Massachusetts knew from reading his articles in local newspapers. Sam's pen fairly flew over the paper when King George III and Parliament passed the Sugar Act of 1764. This new law put a high custom duty or tax on sugar, molasses, and other products brought into America from foreign countries. Also, it stopped the colonies from making their own coins and paper money. Besides this, British officials were given the right to enter any building at any time to search for goods which had been smuggled or sneaked into the colonies without paying the customs duty. Sam said this: if we have to pay taxes without our having representation where tax laws are passed, Adams wrote, are we not lowered to the level of British subjects, to the miserable level of slaves? Later on this same idea would come the battle cry of other American patriots. Patriots, they were called. No taxation without representation. What we are trying to do is not progress the county or this country. We are progressing this country into a shambles of a government. Representation is a virtue that our founding fathers saw and believed in. And by taking representation away, we regress this county. We don't move it forward. I'd like to respond, if I could, to some of the statements made. One of the statements made was that with technology today, it would be easier to serve more people. Actually, I disagree with that, because with technology, I'm actually able to serve the number of people that are my constituents. I'm able to serve them better. So why would I want to create more work for myself? Now, maybe you live in a district where nobody contacts you or nobody calls you, and maybe from your district, maybe there are people that are calling me because I've had them call me from other districts because they're not getting the phone answered when they call their representative. So they've called me. They've called me from all over. And technology has made it possible for me to answer more questions and serve the people greater. So it hasn't made the work easier. It's actually made me able to do more with the number that I have. I'd like to qualify what I believe we really are. We are not managers. We are representatives. We don't work for the company, which would be the county government in this case. We work for the people. We represent them, not this body or not this government. We're here to serve them, not our own selfish desires. And if we reduce representation, that's just a few less arms somebody has to twist to get their agenda through. I'd rather have more people there to fight and debate so that the right questions get answered in the right way. Today, as King George was Sam Adams's and the colonies' enemy, today I'd like to say that the federal government and New York State is our King George. And our job is to represent the constituents of Chautauqua County by defending them from the numerous unfunded mandates. The founding fathers were for small government, not small representation. And finally, I'd like to respond to Dr. Mueller suggests that it would be bad because we have so many representatives in the county, that it's bad because we have so many voices speaking up for us. But if we did have one representative for every 300 people, maybe we wouldn't have had the ridiculous health care bill that we just had passed that is going to increase taxes on everybody in this nation. Maybe if everybody's voices were heard, the majority of the people who were against it would have seen the health care bill fail, not pass. So we don't want to take away representation. We want to stand up and fight for our people. And we want to do our job correctly. And when we do, they'll be glad that they have us. We are not a cost burden to the residents of this county. We're a value. They can't do anything about those unfunded mandates, but you know what they can do? With the tax dollars that they pay us, that stipend that we get, that's a tax dollar that they can contact us and they can do something with that. And you can't do that with the unfunded taxes that we're paying for the unfunded mandates. But they can contact us and ask us to fight for them. So I will be voting no against this now and probably forever.
Thank you, Mr. Lemon.